Korea, 1953. Private Danny Callahan wrote his last letter home the night before battle, told his mother he loved her, told his little brother to be brave, sealed the envelope, never sent it. He died the next morning. The letter stayed in his pocket. They found it on his body, mailed it home 6 months later. His mother read it every day for 40 years until she died. Some letters arrive late, but they still save lives. 60 years later, a 7-year-old boy proved that a letter doesn't need to reach the right address to change everything. Eli Morgan was 7 years old, lived in a small town called Millbrook, population 412, rural Montana, the kind of town where everyone knew everyone, where doors stayed unlocked, where kids rode bikes until the streetlights came on. Eli was a quiet kid, bright, curious, big brown eyes that saw everything. He loved two things in this world: his dad and drawing. His dad, Thomas Morgan, was a logger, worked in the forest outside Millbrook, strong man, gentle soul. Every night Thomas came home, smelled like pine and sweat, picked Eli up, swung him around, called him buddy. They had a routine: dinner, bath, stories, bed, every single night. Thomas read to Eli before sleep, the same books, over and over. Eli memorized them, but he never got tired of hearing his dad's voice. That was the point. It wasn't the stories, it was the voice. Then one morning in October, Thomas didn't come home. Logging accident. A tree fell wrong, crushed him, dead before the ambulance arrived. Eli's mother, Sarah, got the call at 6 a.m. She didn't cry, not at first. She just sat at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. When Eli came downstairs for breakfast, his mother looked at him, and she cried. Eli had never seen his mother cry. It scared him more than anything. "Where's Daddy?" he asked. "Daddy's not coming home," Sarah said, her voice breaking. "Why?" "Because he had an accident," Sarah said. "He got hurt, really hurt. Is he in the hospital?" "No, baby. Daddy died." Eli didn't understand. Not really. He was 7. Death was abstract, a word adults used. He understood one thing: his dad wasn't coming home. The routine was broken. No more pine smell. No more being swung around. No more stories before bed. That night, Eli lay in bed, alone, dark, silent. He reached for a book, opened it, stared at the words. But it wasn't the words he wanted. It was the voice. He closed the book, put it down, grabbed a piece of paper from his desk, a pencil, and he wrote, "Dear Daddy, it's Eli. I miss you a lot. Mommy is sad all the time. She doesn't eat dinner. She just sits and looks out the window. I tried to make her laugh today, but she didn't laugh. I drew her a picture of a bird, but she just cried more. I don't know how to fix it. Are you okay up there? Is heaven nice? Do they have trees? I bet you like it because there are probably a lot of trees. I hope it doesn't rain too much because you always hated the rain. I have a question. Can you still see me? Because sometimes at night I feel like someone is watching over me, like someone is making sure I'm okay. Is that you? I hope it is. I miss you reading to me. Nobody reads to me now. Mommy tries, but she cries in the middle and has to stop. I tell her it's okay, but it's not really okay. I just say that so she doesn't feel bad. I love you, Daddy. Please don't forget about me. Love, Eli Morgan. P.S. I'm being brave. You said to always be brave. I'm trying." Eli folded the letter, carefully, put it in an envelope, wrote on the front, "To Daddy, Heaven." He thought about where to mail it. He didn't know the address to heaven. Nobody did. So he wrote what he thought made sense. He walked to the mailbox. The next morning before school, he put the letter in, raised the flag, and waited. The mail carrier in Millbrook was a man named Arthur Brennan, 68 years old, retired early, came back to deliver mail because he had nothing else to do. His wife Margaret had died 3 years ago, breast cancer. They'd had no children. Arthur lived alone in a small house on Maple Street, quiet, lonely. He picked up mail every morning at 7 a.m., drove the route, delivered packages, collected letters, said hello to people, but nobody really talked to him anymore. Not after Margaret died. People didn't know what to say, so they said nothing. Arthur was invisible. He picked up Eli's letter that morning, saw the envelope, saw the handwriting. Crooked letters, crayon, a child's hand. He saw the address. Heaven. Just the word heaven. Nothing else. Arthur stared at it for a long time. He knew about Thomas Morgan. Everyone in Millbrook did. The logging accident, the tragedy, the little boy who lost his father. Arthur turned the envelope over. No return address. But he knew. He knew it was from Eli. He should have thrown it away, or returned it, or shown it to Sarah. That was protocol. Undeliverable mail goes back to the sender. But Arthur didn't do any of those things. Instead, he put the letter in his pocket, and he drove home. That night, Arthur sat in his kitchen, Margaret's kitchen, her photos on the walls, her recipe books on the shelf. He pulled out Eli's letter, opened it, read it slowly, word by word. When he finished, he was crying. He hadn't cried since Margaret's funeral. 3 years. But this letter broke him open, because Eli wrote about loneliness, about a parent who was sad all the time, about trying to be brave when everything was falling apart. Arthur knew that feeling, lived that feeling, every single day. He read the letter again and again. Then he did something he hadn't done in 3 years. He picked up a pen, and he wrote back. Dear Eli, my name is Arthur. I'm the mail carrier in Millbrook. I found your letter this morning. I know it was meant for heaven, but I delivered it to the wrong address. My house. I hope that's okay. I want you to know something very important. Your daddy heard your letter. I know that sounds strange, but I believe it's true, because when I read it, I felt something. Something warm, something good, like someone was standing right behind me, and I think that was him, reading it with me. You asked if heaven has trees? I think it does, because your daddy loved trees more than anything, and heaven gives you what you love most. You also asked if he can still see you. I think he can. I think he watches you every single day, and I think he's very proud of you. You said you're being brave. You are. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing it anyway. You're doing that right now, so keep going. One more thing. You said nobody reads to you anymore. If you want, you can come to my house sometime. I have a lot of books, and I'll read to you, if you want. No pressure. Yours, Arthur Brennan. P.S. Your dad would be proud of that drawing you made for your mom. Birds are beautiful. Arthur walked to Eli's mailbox the next day, early morning, before anyone was awake. Put the letter in, closed the door, walked away. Felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. That afternoon, Eli came home from school, checked the mailbox, found a letter, his name on the front. His eyes went wide. He ran inside, opened it, read it again. Then he ran to his mother. Mommy, look. Someone wrote back. Sarah read the letter. Her hand went to her mouth. Who is this? Arthur Brennan? Eli shrugged. He said he's the mail carrier. He said Daddy heard my letter. Is that true? Sarah didn't know what to say. She didn't want to lie to her son, but she didn't want to take away his hope. I think it could be, she said. I think your daddy hears everything, sweetheart. Eli smiled. First real smile since Thomas died. The next day, Eli wrote back to Arthur, and Arthur wrote back to Eli, and the next day, and the next. Letters going back and forth. Every single day, Eli told Arthur about school, about his teacher, about the bird he saw outside his window. Arthur told Eli about the town, about the mountains, about the stars you could see on clear nights. They wrote to each other like old friends, like they'd known each other forever. 2 weeks later, Eli asked his mother something. Can I go to Mr. Arthur's house? Sarah hesitated. She didn't know Arthur well. Nobody did. But the letters had changed Eli. He was smiling again, eating again, being a kid again. She said yes. Eli walked to Arthur's house after school, knocked on the door. Arthur opened it, stared at the small boy on his porch. Eli Morgan, he asked. Hi, Mr. Arthur. I'm Eli. Sarah Morgan called. Said you might come by. Arthur's eyes filled with tears. Come in, he said. Eli walked inside, looked around, saw Margaret's photos, saw the books everywhere, Saw the old man who'd been writing him letters for 2 weeks. You have a lot of books, Eli said. Margaret loved books, Arthur said. Who's Margaret? My wife, Arthur said. She died 3 years ago. Eli looked at him. Are you sad? Sometimes, Arthur said. Are you lonely? Arthur nodded. Eli thought about this. Then he grabbed Arthur's hand. I can be your friend, Eli said. If you want. Arthur broke down, held the boy's hand, cried. Okay, buddy, he said. I'd like that very much. Eli visited Arthur every day after school. They read together. Arthur read to Eli, just like Thomas used to. Eli listened, eyes wide, absorbed every word, every story. Arthur found a reason to wake up in the morning again, to cook dinner, to clean the house, to live. Sarah watched her son transform, watched the color come back to his face, watched him laugh again. She visited Arthur one evening, thanked him. Arthur, what you're doing for my son is extraordinary. I'm not doing anything, Arthur said. He's doing it for me. Your son saved my life, Sarah. I was ready to give up. Hadn't left the house in months before his letter arrived. Now I have a reason to keep going. Sarah cried. They hugged. Two broken people, one broken child, finding each other through a letter meant for heaven. 3 months after Eli's first letter, something happened. Arthur collapsed at home. Heart attack. Eli found him when he came over after school, called 911, stayed with Arthur, held his hand, told him to be brave. Arthur survived. Barely. In the hospital, the doctors told him he needed surgery. Expensive, complicated. His insurance wouldn't cover everything. Millbrook rallied. The whole town heard what happened. About Arthur and Eli, about the letters, about the lonely mail carrier and the fatherless boy who found each other. They raised the money in 3 days, $47,000, from a town of 412 people. Arthur cried when they told him, not because of the money, because for the first time in 3 years he didn't feel invisible. Arthur recovered, came home. Eli was there, waiting, with a letter. Arthur opened it. Read it. Dear Arthur, I was really scared when I found you on the floor. I thought you were going to die too, like Daddy. But you didn't, because I called 911, and you're okay now. I want you to know something. When I wrote my first letter to Daddy, I was hoping he would answer. He didn't. But you did, and I think that's because Daddy sent you to me. I think heaven has mail carriers too, and I think Daddy asked you to take care of me. And you are. You read to me. You teach me things. You make me feel safe. You're not my daddy, but you're something special too. I don't have a word for it yet, but I'll find one someday. I love you, Mr. Arthur. Love, Eli. Arthur read that letter 1,000 times, kept it in his wallet, next to Margaret's photo. 2 years later, Eli was 9. Arthur was 70. They were inseparable. Everyone in Millbrook knew. The mail carrier and the boy. They walked together, read together, lived together in ways that didn't need a word. One afternoon, Arthur sat Eli down. I need to tell you something. What? Arthur said. Sarah and I have been talking. Eli's eyes went wide. I want to adopt you, Arthur said. If you want. If your mom agrees. What does adopt mean? It means you become my son. Legally, forever. Arthur would be Eli's father. Not replace Thomas. Never that. But be family. In a new way. Eli stared at him. Really? Really, Arthur said. You'd be my dad? Arthur's voice broke. I'd be your dad. Eli hugged him. So tight Arthur could barely breathe. Yes, he whispered. Yes, yes, yes. The adoption was finalized 6 months later. Small ceremony. Millbrook Courthouse. Sarah crying. The judge smiling. Eli holding Arthur's hand. Walking out as a family. New, different, beautiful. On the steps, Eli handed Arthur a letter. One more letter. Arthur opened it. Dear Dad, that's what I'm going to call you now. Dad, because that's what you are. You found my letter meant for heaven, delivered it to the wrong address. But it was the right address. It was exactly where it was supposed to go. Daddy Thomas gave me life, taught me to love trees and be brave. And you, Dad Arthur, You taught me that love doesn't end when someone dies. It just finds a new way to travel, like a letter. Finding the right person, even when the address is wrong. I love you, Dad. Forever. Love, Eli. Arthur kept every single letter Eli ever wrote him. Hundreds of them. In a box. On the shelf next to Margaret's recipe books. Years later, when Arthur was old and sick, Eli found the box, read every letter, every single one, and understood. Arthur hadn't just read to him, hadn't just loved him. He'd kept every word Eli ever said, because every word mattered, because Eli mattered, because a letter meant for heaven had found exactly where it needed to go. Here's what Arthur learned. The best deliveries aren't the ones that go to the right address. They're the ones that go to the right person. Eli's letter was meant for heaven, but heaven sent it to Arthur, because Arthur needed it as much as Eli did. Two lonely people. One lost everything. One was losing himself. A piece of paper and a crayon connected them. Nothing else. No money. No grand gesture. Just words. Written by a 7-year-old boy who missed his dad. That's all it took. To save 2 lives, to create a family. To prove that love finds a way, even through the wrong mailbox. Your letter, your words, your small act of reaching out. You have no idea where it'll land, who it'll find, what it'll change. So write the letter, mail it anywhere. The universe will deliver it exactly where it needs to go. Here's my question for you. Who needs your letter? Who's sitting alone in a quiet house waiting for someone to reach out? Who's the Arthur in your life? Write to them. Call them. Show up. You don't need the right address. You just need the courage to send it. If this story moved you, leave a comment about a letter or message that changed your life. Subscribe if you believe in mail carriers who open letters meant for heaven. Share this story because someone watching is lonely right now, and all they need is one letter, one word, one person who sees them. We deliver love to the wrong address. That's what heroes do. Now go be someone's Arthur. Go open the letter.